won the Medal of Honor in Vietnam. He was busted from the San Diego police force. And the girl he loved was killed by the Pacific Ocean. In the last day and a half, he's creamed a motorcycle cop in Colorado. Wiped out a Jaguar XKE in Utah. And kept a rendezvous with 2 bulldozers in Cisco, California. His name is Kowalski, and he lives with speed. To get himself up, to get himself gone. Barry Newman is Kowalski in Vanishing Point. In his supercharged Challenger, he ran through every roadblock, speed trap, and dragnet the cops of 4 states could come up with. It took him 26 hours to become a legend, a hero, the super driver of the Golden West. Barry Newman, Dean Jagger, Cleavon Little. Vanishing Point. In color from 20th Century Fox. Rated GP. All ages. Parental guidance.
We just start doing vocal exercises.
Meow, meow,
Yeah,
meow,
mama's a
meow,
me mama,
meow,
papa's a poor
meow,
papa,
meow.
baby's a bad baby. Amidst the mist and coldest frost and stoutest wrists.
Me.
He thrusts his fists against the post and still insists
Of roses
he sees the
composes.
ghosts. Yes. Mouth. I've seen people take like pens or pencils and they put it in their mouth like this. And then they try to say like talk like this. Then they come out like it's gotten your lips all ready to go.
All tightened up and
Yeah,
loosened and everything.
Yeah, it's like doing some stretching with your lips. So we've had some exciting couple weeks.
Yeah.
We had 2 episodes ago. We had Mighty Mike Vanderbilt get driven out by his mom from Chicago. He came over, and then last episode we had Tyrus came and slept over. That was great.
Yeah, I
Crazy.
missed that one.
Yeah, I know. It was
a
one of those
surprise.
One of those situations where last minute your mom's like, "You ain't sleeping over. It's too last minute
Have
notice."
you done your chores?
And Blake's like, "I didn't do it."
I hate you.
You always hated me. You never wanted me. I was an accident, you said. So I brought Tyrus over, and that was funny, like bringing him over because he came over in his onesie and his Godzilla toys, and he had all these Godzilla toys come down. It was very funny. I was like, "This is my friend Tyrus, Ma. He's gonna stay over." My mom was like, "We're gonna have to pull the big bed out for him." So, and then this week we're here back, and we're rounding up the end of the summer now.
Yeah, we're in the home stretch.
Yeah. Couple things. Have
right.
you noticed? Welcome to Saturday Night Movie Sleepovers.
Saturday Night Movie Sleepovers
away. That's
Jay Blake.
and this is
Dion Baia.
Blake's gonna be doing all the voiceover work for this episode. Yes, I'm Dion Baia, and that's Jay Blake.
And with you as always.
And their dog Fred. 2 weeks ago we did the Blues Brothers with Mighty Mike Vanderbilt from Chicago. We were trying to figure out how many musicals we did, and we were thinking we only did 2 or 3. But then I was thinking, after listening to the show, we've done Willy Wonka.
Ching, check.
We did Grease,
2, yeah.
Labyrinth,
I guess technically you could consider that a musical.
Disney's Beauty and the Beast,
That is definitely a musical.
maybe Garfield's Halloween because they do break into song and
True.
stuff. I mean,
true.
that's on the fence.
You could put it on there.
And then maybe Dirty Dancing, maybe not. Probably that's a stretch.
That I don't know if I'd consider that
Yeah.
a musical.
But so we had at least in our belt, that's like, what, maybe 5 or 6 musicals we'd done. And then you add on to that, then the Blues Brothers.
Yeah. And
So-
today we're doing Hair.
Yeah.
So
Shit. I brought the complete wrong notes. I thought we were doing Phantom of Paradise.
that would be a good one for us to do.
Yeah, that and Bugsy Malone I've been pushing.
All right,
Both.
put them on
It's
the
a
list.
Paul Williams double trifecta there. It's a double. How can
Mrs.
you
Baia, put them on the list.
How can you do it that way? You hear her upstairs like beep, 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 cooking the Elios. She's going to get mad soon because they're
All
going
right,
to bed.
today we're doing something slightly different,
Which we
but also not different at all.
No, because we've talked about doing this since the inception of the podcast, since we came up with the the log line of the podcast. This was part of the original concept idea.
Old and new.
Yeah, we were going to always talk about movies that we grew up and felt nostalgic for, influenced us, that we liked from yesterday. And
From
also
yesteryear,
when I was 17.
it was like years after Sinatra died. I couldn't listen to that song.
I know, same with me.
It was sad.
Yeah, me and you got into him really hard, and then I remember 98, and then he died like the same year, and then that was it. And then now it's like some of those songs I can't listen to the same way again. You know.
R.I.P. Frank.
And
Frank's world. We're just living in it.
Yeah, baby. And then we also were originally thinking of doing newer movies.
Yeah.
Which we haven't really done yet. What's the newest movie? That's another thing I haven't thought about yet. What's the newest movie we've done
so far?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe another Luc Besson.
Yeah, would it be? I was going to say Peach Dragon.
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. We haven't done Peach Dragon. Yeah, it might have been Fifth Element, which is 97 or 8?
7. I think it was 7.
Yeah. So that might be the latest movie we've done so far. And we've skirted the line. We've gone right before 97, 98. We did like Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Which is a good 25 years old or 26 years old. But this week we're doing...
I wanted this summer. I made a demand.
Yeah.
I put down I decreed.
Yeah, you got a tablet out, and then you did some blood oath, and
I
then
said,
you put
let's
it up
do
on
something
the
from
town
the
square.
2000s.
You said, let it shall be written, it shall be done. I said that poorly.
I said, God damn it, Dan, if you don't want to do it, I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
And you're like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I wasn't saying I wouldn't do it.
You're like, I'm going to do it. Hell's going to do it with me. I was like, all right, we're going to do it. We're doing it right now. I'm turning everything on. Jeez, too much soda.
But I would say that this movie very much fits into... Today we're doing one of my particular favorite movies. Definitely one of my favorite movies of the 2000s. I would say if you were to make a vast list of my favorite movies of all time, maybe 50 or 100.
Yeah.
I would probably put this on that list. It wouldn't be like top 10, but it would, it would be...
Top 50, top 25.
If I put it, I would put it down in the lower, in a list.
Yeah.
And so for me, one of the main inspirations for us to do this show, when we started talking about the kind of show that we would want to do, was, granted, neither one of us were big podcast listeners at the time. I mean, I listened to some, but not many.
What's a podcast?
But part of, I think, the inspiration, one of the things we discussed was the idea of let's really dive in and discuss movies in a way that those kinds of movies don't normally get discussed.
Yeah.
Maybe something like Casablanca might get discussed that way. Or, Godard or Truffaut or something. Yeah. Maybe those would get, some heavy discussion. But a movie like Karate Kid...
Not so much.
And now, lo and behold, now that we're part of a podcasted community, we realize that these movies are being discussed.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're discussing them in a certain way, and we strive to discuss them in a certain way that's unique to us. But I would say, in researching this before I came over for the sleepover and to watch it, I was kind of shocked to find out that this movie's not universally highly regarded as being amazing.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, this does fit in the category because we're going to talk the crap out of this movie.
Yeah.
And apparently not many people like it, but I do.
You think it's a majority opinion that people don't like it?
I don't know, but it's like 50%. It seems like it falls on one side or the other. 50% of people don't like it. It's got like a 50-something rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, honestly, like I've never talked to that many people about it. I love it.
Yep.
I've mentioned it on the show.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And because I mentioned it to Mike Vanderbilt, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the one that you saw at the movies." Like he knew the story, so I must have mentioned it on the show.
Is there a story behind you seeing?
There's a little bit of a story about me seeing this for the first time.
Is that something we should do now?
We
take the kitten out of the bag and let her breathe a little bit.
We can do it, sure.
Or should you want to wait till later? Once we.
No. I mean, I
take
can
all my
say
bags
it
out.
I could say it up front, but other than you, a friend of mine, Steven, who now is a listener to the show.
Hi, Steven.
Took him years to come around. God damn you.
Yeah. I told you would.
Because I email. Okay, here's the story. Because Steven's Steven's tied into this story. There's a certain section of years right after we moved out I left after I left you in Yonkers.
in the night you left me. So that's 2006-ish. September 2006.
And I moved into Manhattan. I was living by myself for the first time. And I talk about this period as being a very dark period.
It was the dark years.
It was the dark years.
See Rocky. See Rocky podcast.
See the Rocky podcast.
And some other ones we've talked about. Maybe Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
And so this came out in 2009. So this was like 3 years in.
Yeah.
This is 3 years into the dark years.
Yeah.
And I went, usually, Dion knows, I usually go to the movies first thing in the morning.
Okay.
I get like the matinee price.
By yourself.
You get a lot.
Don't even have to go on anybody. Long ago, Blake's like, why do I have to go on somebody?
I also was, especially at that time, I wasn't working a lot.
That's true.
I had a lot of time on my hands. I had no money. Yeah. So to go to a matinee was
And Blake's
perfect.
not really a drinker. Blake's not really any other kind of vice kind of a guy. I'm the one who forces him to do these things.
Junk food and movies. So
yeah. I force him to drink. I force him to do all these other bad things.
But I decided I was bored. I don't know why. It was a Sunday night. Very atypical for me to do this. But I decided to go to the movies on a Sunday night. I walk up to the Lowe's AMC Theater just north of Lincoln Center.
Okay.
Which was my movie theater at the time because I was living closer up there.
That has an IMAX up there, right? The real big.
It has an actual IMAX, not one of those fake.
That they say it's IMAX till you get in there.
After the fact IMAX theater. It has an actual IMAX theater, and it has several smaller theaters, but it has one fairly decent sized theater that has a balcony.
I've seen there the remake of Star Trek 2009. I've seen the second Transformers there. I might have seen the Star Wars Force Awakens there.
But it has a genuine balcony.
Yeah. We don't care, Dion. I'm talking.
I probably saw those there, too.
Yeah. I'm thinking just what I've gone up there to see after work. I'd run up there.
And so I would always sit in the balcony if I sat in that theater, even though the balcony seats are really uncomfortable because the ones on like the ground floor, the first floor, they have like spring in them.
Yeah.
You know, they recline a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a little more room. The one on the balcony, they're straight up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're tight too. You're worried if you stand up, you're going to fall.
It's
fall
tight.
over and die.
You know, there's no room for your feet. It's very uncomfortable.
Isn't it like they also have like, it's like stadium seating up there?
There's
too?
a good rake. Yeah.
So there's a chance if you if you trip.
But not a lot of people sit up there.
Yeah.
So I went to see it. I was one of the few people up on the balcony.
Only the riffraffs.
But the regular floor was pretty crowded for a Sunday night, I would imagine. I don't go to the movies on Sunday nights usually.
Really late or like at 7 o'clock?
Probably 7:30.
Raining out? Seems like it would be a rainy night.
It might have been. So I saw this movie. And
did you go into it expecting anything?
No.
It's just going to be an action movie starring Liam Neeson?
Dion, I'll go see anything.
I know, of course.
Especially if it's like a Hollywood, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I pride myself on that. My buddy Aaron and I saw Christmas with the Cranks in the movie.
God bless you. God bless you.
I'll go see anything.
Yeah.
Like an indie or foreign movie, not so much.
Of course. You want the mainstream.
I will see those. Yeah. But like, if you're like, let's go to a movie, I want to go see the crappiest, worst reviewed Hollywood piece of crap out. I'll be like, I'm there, man. What time?
You know, you and I used to go. That was probably because of it. I would go growing up. You'd go see movies in the theater. Let's take a chance on this. And then, like, you know, as I gravitated and moved out with my parents after college, you and I would go see. I've seen some crazy movies in the theater just because you and I are like, hey, let's go see that.
Oh yeah.
But then now, past 10 years probably since this movie came out, I don't really do that anymore for some reason. Maybe like a lot of America, you just don't take the chance and you don't go see. You know, like as you used to. You know.
Yeah. Well,
you make it a point.
I try to make it out.
You're like, that's all I have.
Well, when I was in college and I would go to the movies a lot with one of our roommates, people would be like, why did you go see that when you would talk about a movie? And it's because like we would just go to the movie theater and we would see whatever the next movie was.
Yeah.
We never went to the movies with the intent of seeing something specific.
Yeah.
Like, let's go to a movie. We go to the movie theater. Oh, this is starting in 15 minutes.
Oh, we'll see that.
Let's see that. Or like, we got a half an hour till the next one starts. Let's get lunch and then we'll come back. And it was whatever the next movie was.
Admittedly, a bit of Russian roulette, but I'm with you.
And so I saw a lot of movies that way.
Of course.
But so I saw Taken, loved it. Yeah. I was so into it. When the movie was over, the credits rolled, the audience applauded.
How long after the movie came out did you see it?
I don't know.
Was it like that Friday?
No,
you
it was
saw that
pretty
Sunday?
soon. Yeah,
Okay.
it might have been opening weekend or second weekend.
Okay.
It was not, because this is one of those movies that opened okay, but then
Kept
gained
going
steam,
from word of mouth.
and then eventually it might even hit number one. But it was like this movie was out for a while, and word of mouth just kept rolling, and this movie became a hit over
Yeah.
time, which is kind of rare. I mean, you hear about it, but most movies, it's like, Avengers will open at number one and it'll be it made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Some movies come out, they maybe crack the top 10, and then over time they start to build, and because people are like, that movie was pretty good. That movie was pretty good, and so so the audience applauded, and that's rare.
It's almost like a definition of like the old days of Sleeper. You go see it,
Yeah.
and then it would, people would word of mouth, and
I mean, here in the city, there's a lot of like retrospective screenings. You go see something from the old, a classic,
yeah,
and people will applaud at the end.
yeah, of course.
But it's rare to go see a movie first run and have an audience applaud.
I'm a little fed up with the clientele that go to these special screenings in New York, but that's for a different conversation.
So I came home
Yeah.
after that, and I emailed Steven,
Who listens to this podcast?
who is now a listener of this podcast, and will probably listen to this one because he too loves this movie.
Hi, Steven. We already said hi to you.
I emailed him. I said, I just saw Taken. It was awesome. You have to see it. Something to that effect. And he replies to me probably the next day, like Oscar Schindler in an action movie, like that movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, just see it.
Yes.
And he saw it, and then he emailed me, whenever he got around to seeing it. He's like, you're right, that was awesome. And so this movie's always been like a movie that we both love.
I think one of the reasons it plays that old traditional. Hey, look, was my second time watching this movie. I watched it when it came out, loved it. I love this kind. Blake knows this is what I like. This shit, the traditional archetype affair of this kind of a thing. And I think one of the strengths this movie has is, at the time, someone like him was cast against type.
Yeah.
It's like
now he's in a lot of these kinds of movies. But at the time it was.
So
he
it's
was in
like
Darkman, but
it's like when you see, Jimmy Stewart putting him in a Western, the Anthony Mann Westerns in the 50s, or even like guys like Henry Fonda. You put a guy that you don't traditionally see in this kind of a role in there and fucking shit up. And you're like, this is awesome. And it's you like to call this movie, what is it, like a good script, right? You say not a perfect script, but it's just got it's pretty,
I think it's pretty perfect, actually.
okay. Not Back to the Future perfect, as I hold my right hand up, or no.
Yeah,
I mean it's pretty loose.
Well, it's funny because
Loose isn't tight.
before, to take a quick side here, because
I'll turn that machine off.
I
Sorry.
think it's also. I also remember at this time, this movie came out around the same time as like X-Men Origins Wolverine came out.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
And if you recall,
The only way I saw it.
the Wolverine movie got leaked
Yeah.
without like all the effects done, and it got leaked, and it was a big deal. And then Wolverine came out in the theaters, and it didn't do as well as anticipated
Because everybody had already
by
seen
the
it by
studios.
this
And
point.
everybody said the studios blamed the fact that it leaked for the reason why it didn't do well. And I submit to you, Exhibit A.
Exhibit A!
This movie came out around the same time, maybe even the same year, I think, as that. Taken had leaked online like a year ahead of time, at least 6 months, because it was made in Europe, and maybe it came out in Europe first.
It came out this came out in like January or February of 2009, and it was already out in the cinema in the fall of 2008 overseas.
Yeah, so it had for months it had leaked online, like screeners of it, not even just like crappy. And so a lot of people saw it that way, and yet this movie was a hit.
And that, I think, the leaked was also the director's cut.
Yeah.
The international cut, like other Luc Besson movies, although he didn't direct this, So I think people who saw that screener also saw the, it's not anything crazy.
No, it's just a
like,
little more footage.
Yeah,
a little more fights.
a little more fights, blood, and gunshots.
But so I say the reason why Wolverine.
You submit to me.
And if you, Wolverine Origin, X-Men Origins Wolverine is fine. There's actually things about it that I like.
I do
It's fine.
too.
But had it been better, I think it would have done better. Because this movie is awesome, and it leaked. And yet
leaked.
it did great,
And
because I think people were like, that movie was awesome. I'll go see that in the theater. Or like, oh, I saw that. It's awesome. You should go see it.
And I also think that it was still at the time where people were still, I feel like maybe I'm just speaking for myself that we're in a different era of going to the movies.
Yeah.
Where 2008 or 9, people were still, like you just said, I saw a screener of it. It was great. I'll still go pay and see it in the theater.
Yeah, yeah.
We weren't into yet having instant everything. The only thing we had was Netflix in the mail, by disc. So people were still ready, willing, and able to go and spend their money and sit in a movie theater.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, going back to your point about how I feel about the script, I think it's funny that some of the criticisms of this were like taken as an undeniably fun with slick action, but it's largely a brainless exercise. Mm-hmm. A lot of the criticisms of was that it felt like some kind of like film exercise and not a movie.
That quote has nothing more on its mind than dozens of bad guys getting beat up and another one turned into an instant roadkill.
And I say, like, you know what? Like, really, if you look at like a large chunk of Hitchcock's movies, they were just like an exercise in suspense. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I think this is a perfect example of
critics are assholes. Like I like to say,
a lot of critics are assholes, but like that's what I love about this movie. Is it's in a way it's so calculated. It's so tight.
It's not pretentious.
One of my favorite sayings: "It's tight as a drum." This movie.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go someplace else. I was like, Blake, this is a family show.
So we have, for people that haven't seen it,
Yeah.
I would suggest seeing it because it's a whole lot of fun.
We're doing Taken this week from 2008 or 9.
Let's do that. Taken for 2008 or 9. Directed by Pierre Morel,
Yeah.
who was a cameraman and DP turned director by Luc Besson. Apparently Luc Besson had a knack for finding people that were good, that could direct, and just giving them the opportunity.
Yeah.
This was a time Luc Besson has been on the show before because we did Fifth Element.
Yep.
And will be on the show again at some point because we will do The Professional.
Leon.
Or Leon.
Yeah. No, Matilda. I won't have sex with you.
At some point.
Yes.
So he produced this movie, and at the time that this movie came out, it was like Transporter had come out. He was trying to be the movie mogul in Europe.
Yeah.
He wanted to basically be like a studio and just dish out these awesome action movies.
Yeah. And this is where you're getting at this guy's directorial debut.
Yeah. And he did a movie called, was it B13 or District 13, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
I think in Europe it might be called B13. Here I think it's called District 13,
And
which is a really cool action movie.
And you and a former professor of ours both hit me to that movie where it's doing that crazy, what do they call that? Free walking, I guess, freestyle walking.
Yeah.
It's all those stuff where you see like at the beginning of the Casino Royale movie with Daniel Craig, where he's, they're running up the stuff and they're jumping. You know what I mean? It has a lot of that
parkour
in it.
or whatever.
Yeah, and it's stuff you see to a certain extent. I think in the later Bourne movies, where people are jumping and doing, and you see a little of it in this movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason why, which we could talk about, is that when new audiences saw it, it's doing something that movies aren't really doing yet.
Yeah, so this Pierre Morel was a cameraman on the Transporter, and I believe he was the DP. If not, he was definitely on the camera crew for Unleashed, which is another movie we'll probably do at some point.
Yes, because you love that movie.
And it's a movie that has come up a few times on this podcast.
Well, because I always talk about my Bob Hoskins story. The day I carried Bob Hoskins around like Yoda in my backpack.
And of course, it was produced by Luc Besson.
Yeah.
And it was written by Luc Besson and Robert Mark Kamen,
Who's been on the show before.
I was going to say, do you know
Jesus,
for which
it's a
movies?
laundry list.
I know he's going to be.
He probably already is sleepover gold for the
Sleepover Hall of
but
Fame.
most for us specifically. I think the reason why he was on was because last year we covered the original, mind you, Karate Kid. But he did he wrote the Karate Kid.
He wrote the Karate Kid, yeah,
and then
he wrote
also
all the Karate Kids.
He wrote all the Karate Kids. He also wrote The Fifth Element.
With Luc
Besson. I mean, this guy is probably. We should probably just stop the cast down and just inaugurate him in. He did Taps.
If we didn't do this last time, we should do it now.
We're gonna do a quick sum up of what he done, like it's the Oscar, like you said.
There's
like
one
the
other
previews.
movie he did for us.
He did Taps, Karate Kid 2. This is written in screenplay, or either screenplay or written by. Karate Kid 3, the Karate Kid cartoon show, Power of One. Come on,
Power of One,
Lethal Weapon 3. Gladiator, which is the boxing movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. The next Karate Kid. You talking about A Walk in the Clouds for us?
No,
he did that
about our first episode.
He did. Did he do the? Oh, he produced the Punisher,
and I think he rewrote the Punisher.
I thought I saw a Pretty Cat. I thought I saw something. He did The Fifth Element. Let me round this out. Kiss of Death, which you like with Jet Li.
Yeah, it's not my favorite Jet Li movie, but yeah, sure, I like that movie.
Transporter, Transporter 2, Transporter 3. He did The Taken. He did the remake of Karate Kid. Taken 2, Taken 3, Taken
Some
everybody.
of the Karate Kid stuff he might have just had credit for, like.
Oh, I see. Okay, you're right, because the new Cobra Kai, it's based on characters, and then he did the Taken TV series. Based on characters, you're right. So this guy's done a whole laundry list.
Although he doesn't have credit for writing, I think he did do some writing on Unleashed.
And I think there's Luc Besson somehow attached to, you just said that, to Transporter movies? To Transporter movies?
Them, yeah.
Okay. Because those
and I think the guy who directed the first Transporter movie was another instance where Luc Besson found him.
And did him.
And was like, you know what, I'll give you a movie. Like, why don't you direct this?
And that's basically a remake of a movie we'll talk about in a future episode, The Driver. But great series there, and those were huge. Me and you saw, the second one in the theater? I think me and you saw Transporter 2 with Aaron.
I might have seen them all in the theater, but...
Yeah. So Besson is looking to do a little film company. He gets this guy, and this guy directs, we said District 13. He gets the writer, Kamen, who we've just indicted into the...
I think they've worked together like 8 or 9 times.
Yeah.
Mark Paul Gosselaar. No, Robert Mark Kamen.
Holy shit. And at the time, Besson is still coming off of, The Professional was huge. La Femme Nikita was huge. They turned that into a TV show. They remade La Femme Nikita over here, which I'm sure he produced or executive produced, called Put in a Return. Fifth Element was huge over here. So the Transporters were huge. So he was getting some notoriety in these things.
Oh, yeah, he was big by then here. I mean, he was definitely a name.
Yeah.
I remember, you'd be like, oh, it was written by Luc Besson. Like, oh, that could be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome because certainly when we saw The Professional, that had a whole different look to it, a feel. I remember the music in it, very stylized. And I'm not even talking about the Fifth Element with the futureness, but just the style of his cinematography, the fight scenes, the montages. So when you get this movie is basically, it's a French movie, but it's kind of like what they used to do in the old days with the spaghetti westerns. We'll go shoot them in Spain or whatever, and you're going to get a couple American, or English-speaking actors as your principals.
Yeah.
And then you're going to dub everything else, and you're probably going to shoot it very inexpensively. And then they're like, sure, and then so this is how this movie gets done. You get Liam Neeson.
Yeah, no, apparently Besson had met somewhere and was talking to either a police officer or some other French person in law enforcement. And they got talking, and somehow the conversation came around to this idea of we just busted up this sex trafficking ring.
Yeah.
And he was telling Luc Besson about it. And Luc Besson was all like, oh, really? Well, tell me about it. He was fascinated, but he thought it was really interesting.
Well, that's the scary thing about this. This is actually real.
And that he was telling him what was going on and how, and then so Luc Besson went to Robert Mark Kamen and was like, get a load of this.
Yeah.
They just busted up this sex thing, and this is how it worked, and this is how they ended up busting it up. I think we should write a movie about it.
Yeah.
So then they were talking about a movie of okay, so a girl gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
And she's going to be forced into sex slavery.
Which is a huge thing in the world now, sex slave.
What's the story? Is it her story? No, what if she has a dad? What if we go Death Wish on this shit?
Yeah, we're going to Paul Kersey the shit out of this. And we're going to turn it into an 80s after-school movie.
And he has a dad with a particular set of skills.
Yeah, Alan Thicke. No. two 80s TV dad.
And he's going to come and fuck shit up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the origin
of it. This is what I like about this movie. I mean, around the same time, you had the remake of Man on Fire come out with Denzel Washington and Tony Scott.
Tony Scott, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's one of these movies where a girl gets kidnapped that he's taken care of. He's gonna go, and you always have these, and that's a remake of an '80s movie with Joe Pesci and Scott Glenn, right? The actor from The Right Stuff.
Yeah. And
The Keep, exactly. In the
Vertical Limit.
What's the name of that movie? The Signs of the Lambs. To any in there? He's the FBI.
The Daredevil TV show.
He's in the Daredevil TV show. You're right. Yeah, season 2 maybe. So I don't know why I went off on Scott Glenn. And so,
because this movie would have been awesome with Scott Glenn.
It would have been a blind Scott Glenn. But that's basically what the first Man on Fire is. He plays the Denzel Washington character, and his handler, which in the remake is Chris Walken, is Joe Pesci. So, but in this movie, this follows in this tradition of movies like Jesus. You have a great movie, John Boorman movie called Point Break. See, I'm saying it wrong. Point Blank with Lee Marvin.
Yeah.
Which was remade into
That Mel Gibson movie,
Mel Gibson movie called oh my God, it's the James Big Payback.
Yeah.
That Boorman is the guy who ends up discovering Liam Neeson because he sees him while he was doing some sort of play, maybe in Ireland, and casts him for Excalibur. Also, there's a movie, Coogan's Bluff, Clint Eastwood, late 60s. You have Prime Cut, another great Lee Marvin movie with Gene Hackman, which is about sex slavery, where Sissy Spacek, where Gene Hackman owns a cattle ranch down south, but he's also sending people to meat grinders, and he's got meat grinder.
He dropped us on a meat grinder.
It's a bunch of bullshit out of it. He's got girls in little cages, and he's selling them like cattle, into sex slavery.
Hardcore.
You have hardcore. And,
Jersey Scott's kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. You have the Yakuza, which is a great, maybe Sidney Lumet, or is it Sidney Pollack? But it's Robert Mitchum. One of the Sidneys. And Mitchum has to go. He's a private eye, but he has to go help a friend get their daughter or son back from the Yakuza in Japan. So there's always this great idea of another one, Brennigan, which is a what's his name movie, which is actually very good. John Wayne, maybe a year or two before he died, 75. In the Bronson's movies in the 70s, and even to the point where Commando, 85, same kind of like this. So this follows in this tradition of these simple plot. This is what's going to happen, and it's just how they execute it that ends up being, masterfully done. And I think the interesting thing about this is Liam Neeson says that one of the reasons why they considered getting Jeff Bridges to do the movie, I think he'd even signed on, but for some reason he dropped out. Liam Neeson only signed up for it because, one, he wanted to do some more physical stuff than he's been doing, physically demanding. You think at this time, Liam Neeson was born in 1952, so he was 50 in 2002, so he's 55 when he's doing this. That gets back to Bronson. A lot of people don't realize, if you look at Charles Bronson's career, he really became huge in the late 60s into the 70s. I mean, he was a name, but the person we know.
He had been around for a long time.
Exactly, from the 50s or so.
He was in House of Wax.
House of Wax with his real name, Charles Bukowski, I forget what his last name is. But in the 70s, when he's doing the movies we know and love, like Death Wish, Mr. Majestic, all those movies, the Hard Times, he's in his 50s.
Yeah.
And you look at the guy, bare knuckle boxing in Hard Times, Walter Hill, he's got no shirt on. The guy is jacked, and he's in his mid 50s. So it's interesting you get guys of that age then having a career in action, like Liam Neeson does here. So they cast Liam Neeson. He doesn't even think the movie's going to come out. He thinks it's just going to be a direct-to-video.
Yeah, he's thinking it'll be a nice side project.
Yeah, I get to spend 4 months in Paris, on a trip for free. He at the time was still married to what's her face, Natasha Richardson. She ends up passing away only a couple months after this movie comes out in that skiing accident, that happened. So he signs on to this movie, and I think at the time what really helped with this is that it is that against type. You don't know Liam Neeson so much, and that's sometimes funner. It's almost like casting an unknown. If you could do it, it's like the idea, I think, going back to Michael Keaton in Batman. He's a comedian. How can he do it? Or, all these other, I'm sure, examples you can come up with. Heath Ledger is the Joker, where it's we've never seen him in that turn of kind of a role. And that's what I think also makes the movie propel and succeed.
Because a lot of these CIA types probably just look like regular dudes. They don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Stallone.
Where I work at my day job, I encounter a lot of Secret Service and I become like a Travis Binkle, where I come up to him and talk to him what gun are you carrying? What do you got under there? And you see these guys, and I've been around it for so many years, I can kind of pick out, you can see sometimes by how they stand under their suit jacket, they have all this equipment on. They have machine guns, they have vests, all kind of stuff. So you can have they have a gait while they walk and what they're wearing with their shoes and all that kind of a thing. But you're right, these guys are just, They make it look a little different. I mean, they do have a look sometimes. It's like, they may be older, but they're jacked, but they're sinewy in a way. They
Sure.
don't, like you're saying, they're not like a Stallone or Schwarzenegger like that.
Yeah.
But they just look like a normal guy. And then, like, it's funny. You think these guys, like Israeli Secret Service, some of the most bad asses in the world, they can fuck some shit up if shit goes down.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of a leap it is that they're going to be doing like fucking, not Jeet Kune Do, but I forget what the martial art this is here. Nagatsu Do, maybe I think it's called or something, but it's like it's not a very far leap that some of these guys who do this special ops shit have these abilities.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think one of the great things about this movie is that Liam Neeson isn't an action star
At this point.
At that point,
Yeah.
I mean, he just looks like a regular dude. Sure, he's like 7 feet tall, but you don't really get that perspective.
It's funny
in a movie.
A friend of ours that we've brought up once in a while on the podcast, Matt Garrison, who's a jazz saxophone player that we went to college with. His parents, he's from upstate New York, Poughkeepsie, and where his parents live, and evidently Liam Neeson lives around there. So they used to tell me right around this movie or before that they'd see him up there, like they go to like the local grocery store, which is kind of not like what do you call that? It's not like a Stop and Shop or like a big
Like a
franchise.
supermarket?
Yeah, it's just a little like a fresh shop where they get they get the fresh food from over here, this farm over here, and
like
they'd
a
see him in
farmer's
there like,
market.
oh, excuse me, getting their grapes or I like that avocado. So so they'd see him a lot up there. But yeah, it's a great turn for him. And the other thing about this is that at the time, a lot of reasons why the movies that we've mentioned that are like the classics that are done well is that there's a new way of doing them too. Like, the first time you see stuff like this, and this was a kind of idea you think of a movie like this where we had the big action spectacles of what the 80s and 90s or the 70s, more of the 80s and 90s where it's just like completely overboard, like the Schwarzenegger fare or the Stallone fare. When you get into the 90s, into the 2000s, movies are getting more realistic for maybe because it's post 9/11 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So you're getting the Jason Bourne movies, you're getting movies like that. So when you have a movie like this and the action in it, and then
and it feels very different because it does have a very European feel to it, not just because of the location, but because Morale, the director, was coming from shooting action films for Luc Besson, so he, even though he wasn't shooting this movie, he had a sense of like how it needed to be shot, what he needed, and so it has a very European feel to it,
which is not a bad thing.
Which gives it just a different flavor than I think. The kinds of stuff that we were used to in terms of action movies up till that point.
Certainly when I saw The Professional or Leon in the mid-90s or whenever that came out, that had such a unique style that stood out from the other action fare at the time that were, domestically for us in the States.
Yeah. Well, this, talking about the script of this movie, I think what's, why it works so well, of course, like the first act is really mostly exposition.
I feel like this movie could be one of those movies like you take Alien, where it's and this is not a criticism, but it's a B movie script.
Sure.
But it's done in an A-level way. Like Alien could have been a terrible Roger Corman movie, and I'm not slagging either one of those parties off.
Yeah.
But because Ridley Scott took it and treated it like it's going to be a gazillion-dollar project. With this movie, it's like this movie could have been just some weird movie with Michael Dudikoff or somebody. You know what I mean?
But you also think of all those movies, maybe because you have star power like Clint Eastwood, but a lot of those.
Oh yeah, they're just
they're B. I mean, they're really B.
They're genre
exploitation
pictures.
movies.
Yeah, they're genre pictures, and the only reason they're doing well is because you either have a lead in it that's doing something good, that's going to sell the picture, or it's because it's going to transcend the genre.
And so, I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
no,
both
not
of
at
us
all.
are a huge fan of
this
of the genre.
That's some of
It's our
my
bread and butter.
That's some of this more of the stuff I've been suggesting us pushing to do on the show. That kind of fare. It's like this is the stuff that it's for a purpose. It's escapism and another form of escapism, and it's great. It's shit I love.
And when we talked about, you brought up Back to the Future because I talked about how much I love that script, and like this movie also, like I think this is an exercise in suspense, in storytelling, in a certain style.
Well, you said the reason the first act is exposition. The reason I brought up it's B, kind of a B script is because it's funny because the first half is very like crossing your I's and dotting your T's.
Yeah.
Crossing
Like
your
what-
T's and dotting your I's. Of like, his cliched friends.
that, reverse
yeah.
that.
I mean, like all the stuff you need to set up of his day to day, the relationship with his wife and his daughter, his friends who just serve no other purpose except to give you the shit, to spit exposition to him,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I just was recently writing something for a project that has to do with Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
And in doing so, I did a lot of research, and Poe had this theory of writing, which was, I think he called the unity of effect. And it was like any great story, for any story to really work, the writer has to first figure out the ending. How's it going to end?
And then, yeah.
And what effect are you trying to portray? Like, what are you trying to get across to the reader? And then every decision that the writer makes from that point has to be driving the story to those goals, to that ending. Every word chosen. I mean, he's talking about in literature, not in a movie.
And also, we have to credit where credit is due. Edgar Allan Poe invented the detective.
Yeah, the detective story as we think of it today, the Sherlock Holmes,
Conan Doyle, all that kind of stuff. Agatha Christie. This all came out of, I forget the guy's name, but I think it's Murders in the Rue Morgue.
I think it was Dumont.
Yeah, but it's an American invention. People forget that Edgar Allan Poe in the 1860s, maybe. So that's interesting. That tidbit of him talking about writing that way.
Yeah, so like this idea of like you have to figure out where you're going, and then every decision has to be driving us towards that. For instance, in many, people don't realize that he only wrote like 12 horror stories, terror stories.
Edgar Allan Poe, yeah.
Out of the over 100 things he wrote, only 12 of them were like horror, but that's what we know him for. But in those things, like the effect is suspense. He's trying to, or horror, and that's the effect that he's trying to, portray to the reader. I think, take it as a good example of, okay, we have the concept, sex trafficking, a daughter's taken, the father wants to get her back. The ending is he finds her, he saves her, and
there's a clock,
and what goes along with all that, and how do we maximize suspense? And I think this script, like step by step, and you're like, okay, we need to establish the character. So like the first 20 minutes of this movie, like I said, is exposition. We find that he has a daughter. We've realized that he's divorced. We realize that he hasn't been around. We realize that he has these friends who are like, oh, Mr. Detail.
Yeah.
Okay, he's detail oriented. When we see him wrap the present, it's meticulous.
Yeah.
The corners are, the edges are perfect. Okay, this guy is a guy that pays attention to detail. We find, security. They ask him to do a security job. We see him slightly in action with the singer. Everything is like, okay, we have to know who this guy is, so that when it clicks and he has to put into action, we buy it.
Yeah.
And the idea of, it's no coincidence that so many of these movies that you brought up before are like a daughter or a child, doesn't even have to be a daughter, but a child being taken or hurt.
Yeah.
Or because it's something that even though we don't have
or a family
children,
being messed with, something.
Even though we don't have a children, like it's something that we totally relate to.
Of course.
It's instant like, oh, okay, like we know the power of a parent's love because we all, unfortunately some of us are orphans or whatever.
Yeah.
But the majority of us have lived with parents, or we have this idea, we have an understanding of what that means. So when this happens, it's like, okay, instantaneously, like it's primordial.
Yeah. We just discussed half of the beginning of Steven Seagal's Camp. You mess with his family, whatever, like that, and then he's got to go.
I always
fuck some shit
said,
up.
if you're in like Last Action Hero, like you're in a movie and you realize you're in a movie, like this is movie tropes are in existence in this world. One thing you do not do is even go near Charles Bronson's daughter.
No, you do not want anything
You
to happen.
steer clear. You don't want any chance.
Yeah.
Because that's not even just the Death Wish movies.
You're going near my daughter.
That's like half of his catalog.
Yeah.
You fuck with my family? Okay.
I'm going after you. Yeah.
So bam, we got that. That we understand, totally relatable when that happens. we get it.
Child or family
Two,
member,
his buddy's like, you got 96 hours to find her.
Yeah, an analyst.
Or what?
Yeah.
She's gone forever.
Yeah.
96 hours from the minute she was taken. So we're already lost like 8 hours. Fuck.
Now if you haven't seen this, she wants to go on a vacation with a friend to Paris. They're in L.A. He's very begrudgingly because he's like, I know what it's like out there in the world. He with his Ulster English,
Yeah.
And then from us in New York, Paris is 6 hours ahead, but from them it's 9 hours ahead. So you're getting what you're saying is, once she gets over there, we realize that she lied to him a little bit because she's a little girl. They're going to go on a backtracking trip to follow, like, what is it, Fish? Or, no, they're following U2.
U2.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say Fish or, like, Grateful Dead.
Okay, I'll let you finish before I...
But then once she gets taken, he's already 9 hours behind the 8 ball because he's got to fly.
Yeah.
That's going to be I don't know. It's a 6-hour flight from New York to England, but, although you're going with the wind. So if you're going from L.A., yeah. Even though he did get a private jet, I don't think they're going to be going any faster per se, but he doesn't have to worry about like going through like baggage claim and like your flight's delayed and open that bag again, sir.
I will say I'm probably assuming that most of you have seen this movie.
Yeah. So that's basically the
if
premise.
I was going to give one criticism of what I don't like about the movie, what I don't think completely works is I don't know, because the daughter, because she's clearly not 17.
Yeah.
She feels like too immature.
Well, you know what?
So it's a little. She's always running to people.
Well, my reading of it was that if you look at her clothing, she kind of seems like she's a little more on this autism spectrum.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say,
because she has like she's wearing like
slow.
She's wearing like very clothes that her age type might not wear. They're very younger for her age,
and I wonder if
very
it's just like a European.
Then they had the actress. She had to learn how to run a certain way because she had to run like a little girl would run. So they did everything they could to really just make that relationship be very about the father-daughter, where she's very like, even the choices she's making. She's no matter, even though she's of that age, and you would think that she'd have an issue with, leave me alone, I can do what I want, because she's still like the daddy-daughter relationship is still supersedes everything.
Yeah.
I'm still daddy's girl, don't worry, daddy, I'm going to call you whenever you want, every hour on the hour, I'm going to fucking call you from 9 hours away.
My point is, like, I don't know, something about it seems... Like you said, she's on some kind of spectrum.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing. Not a criticism.
No, it's just an observation.
It's a
little. It just feels a little weird in the context of this.
I mean,
if she was like, even her mom. I don't know if her mom would let her go to Europe.
Yeah, and
her best friend is was her Katie Cassidy?
Yeah,
who was David Cassidy's like illegitimate daughter, but has now had a career. She was on Arrow, and this was one of the first things I remember seeing her in. She was in the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
But she's like clearly like the popular girl.
Well, she's also she's
age. 19.
She knows what she's doing. I mean, she's like she's the age of 19 where she's listening to Britney Spears. She's listening to where this other girl seems like she's like hasn't get out of the house that much.
And and so the other thing aside from that is that they're going to go follow U2.
Yeah.
Which is like, was this movie been sitting in a drawer since 1988?
I guess. I mean, at the time, U2 is freaking.
I think those are some of those things that I think might be the European thing that feels a little bit weird for us as an American audience.
Yeah,
because I just don't imagine that like a 17-year-old girl, even in 2009, would want to go follow U2 around.
Well, it's funny. I will concede to you that I know people that are our age that love U2. Like, they follow them. They will go to
But they got into U2 when they were 17.
Yeah.
When U2 was popular.
Yeah, that's like following Dave Matthews Band around now. So now it's like them now. I think they were probably just trying to find a band that was very popular that both sides of the pond would know.
Yeah.
At the time, and you can't really. I mean, maybe what's the one that everyone loves? The one that does all that. I forget the name of that band, damn it. But people love the damn thing. But like, yeah, I think they're trying to find U2's, Bono, everybody fucking knows. He's been around, so, But it's even, I don't know.
The funny thing is, like, dude, they don't even need to have that element. Who cares why she's going to Europe? What if
Yeah.
she was just going to go to museums? She's
Yeah.
still going to get taken.
Well, I guess the whole thing is that
that
she
she's
was lying
concealing
to,
something.
yeah, and then it's like she's afraid of what Daddy's going to do or say. So right before this, like you're saying, the backstory, we start to learn a little about Liam Neeson's character. He's got some sort of CIA history. He gets a job being bodyguarding for a pop singer. Her name in real
Shira.
life is what's her name?
Character. Name is Shira.
Shira, like the star, like Princess of
But
Power.
Holly
Valance. So she was an Aussie actress who got her start in Neighbours, which was an Australian sitcom or like a soap opera in the day. And Holly Valance had a singing career in 2002. She came out and did a song called Kiss Kiss, which was very popular in England. I don't know, or Europe. I don't know if it ever came over here. And she, at the time is kind of, I feel like this has even been dated because we've been put into like maximum overdrive in the past 10 or 15 years, but it's like back then she was like supposed to be like Christina Aguilera or Britney Spears, and this kind of a pop thing. So it's weird because I had only seen this movie once in 2009, loved it then, but it's like it got to the point in my life where it's like I rarely rewatch movies because I'm trying to just keep up with everything
Whereas
that's
I've
out.
seen this movie like 22.
Well, so when I go back and watch it now, it's funny, just out of the blue, this guy trying to kill her. Like there's a guy standing there, like he got past security with the knife, and but I didn't realize, was there ever, maybe this is the reason why she has a security team? Did they ever establish that she had a credible threat against her life, or this is a random attack that?
I don't know. Could be
Yeah.
random. I mean, a lot of people, you hear a lot about
Oh, of course.
stalkers.
Yeah,
and-
look at John Lennon. You didn't even know before it was going to happen. So it's interesting. So this happens, and then all of a sudden, like, he's indebted to her. I like that. And he's like, my daughter wants to sing. And she's like, okay, I'll hook it up for you. And then so then we get to the point where it's right before that, where he goes to her, it's her birthday party, meet the
brings
girl.
her like the rinkiest.
Yeah, which is to him it's a lot of money. It's a karaoke
I mean,
machine.
it's a
She wants to be a singer.
touching thing,
Yeah, I've always been in love with, and I still plan to marry one day, Famke Janssen's, and she's there, gorgeous. She's like
Don't
60
tell your
years
wife
old.
that.
I know. I mean, I've told her many times. You're gone as soon as Famke says yes to me. She's there. The husband we brought up.
Xander?
Yeah,
Berkeley?
and I forgot we just brought him up because
Because he's in every movie ever.
Oh, you know why this year was because I said we did the Jackie Chan movie for Kung Fu February, and I said the bad guy in that looked like a poor man Xander
Berkeley.
Yeah, and you're
And
like,
I've always
yeah.
said back when the Kevin Bacon thing was a big thing.
the 6 degrees.
of
Yeah,
Kevin Bacon.
you can substitute Xander.
I was like, if you could just get to Xander Berkeley,
You're good.
Like, then you can get anywhere.
Yeah,
Just figure out what movie somebody's in with Xander Berkeley, and then
Yeah.
you have a direct connection to anybody.
And for people who don't know, most recently he's been in the Walking Dead series. I forget what person he plays, but he was the head of that community that was living that was dealing with Negan or whatever. But he's in everything. He's in Heat. He shows up at, like, any place. So, but he's there.
He's in Poison Ivy too.
He's the father in Poison
He's
Ivy
in
too.
Sid and Nancy.
He's in Sid and Nancy. Yeah. Where you least expect him, he shows up. So he's the father in the movie. Very quickly, you realize that like he's super, super rich. Liam Neeson brings over to his daughter, and they've got security there and all that kind of thing. He brings, like, he thinks he's an expensive president, which probably is for him. It's a karaoke machine because his daughter wants to be a singer, and she opens it up, loves it, but then fucking Xander outdoes him and gets her a fucking pony. He's like, fuck. So I think he takes the thing home. I had a memory that he threw it in the trash when he was
I don't
leaving.
think so.
But no, he didn't. But I've seen
but
how
I
the
don't
movies.
think. I think he leaves it there. I just don't.
Yeah,
think
he's just like, fuck, he just throws it in the pool, But then very quickly, and I don't like the kind of BSing like with Famke's doing. Like, yes, Liam is being a little overprotected for it. It's something I would say. I'm not having her go unsupervised to Europe. That's not. But a lot of Europeans, this is another thing that American audiences might not know. This is normal for like Europeans. Europeans love to go on vacations, long weekend trips. We've talked about before. If you live like in England or whatever, it's very easy. You get on a plane for an hour and a half. You're in France. You're in Greece. You're in Spain. So it's nothing for them to go on these excursions to foreign countries. Or us. I think it takes a little more of a person here who are used to it. That's a lot of people in America. It's a big thing for them to like leave their state, or go to like New York City, quote unquote. So like for him, the girl.
Well, it's a distance,
Yeah.
It's just that's the thing is like, you take a place like England, and it's like the size of Nebraska. I mean,
Florida, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can go anywhere you want, and you can get very quickly to someplace else. Where here you can get in the car and drive for 12 hours. You're only getting to like Cincinnati. But so here they kind of lie to him, and I feel like Famke Janssen's also a bit of a bitch.
She's in on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have like
because the conceit is, sorry to cut you off, is that she's 17, not 18 yet, and he's, I guess, the legal guardian because they have joint custody. She needs Liam's right off as well for
her to be able to travel
abroad.
overseas.
Yeah,
abroad.
Okay.
Of course he's off. He has 30 years or whatever of job experience.
Yeah, special ops shit.
And he's traveling all over the world for business.
Yeah, but he stopped doing that most recently because he sidelined his career to be closer to his daughter, probably because the marriage fell apart to Famke Janssen.
Yeah, and plus she's probably going to go to college soon. I think that's brought up. He's like, she's going to be going to college.
You got a year with her.
He's like, well, that's why,
That's why I'm here.
You're going to lose her in a year. He's like, well, I have a year to get her.
Yeah, and we also allude through very subtle subtext that Famke Janssen, it's not like the marriage went bad because they were having problems. They still love each other, but it was because he was away and wasn't there she's like, I need a husband that's with us.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like whatever bad blood they have between them is because he was gone. He was absent.
The job, quote unquote. Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that she doesn't really know the extent of what he was doing.
Yeah, I don't think she probably told him. He's a military contractor, maybe. But
and the daughters, she's like, I used to ask Mom what you did for a living, and she said, ask your father. But then when you came home, I was too afraid to ask you. And he's like, why? And then she says something along the lines of, because I guess I was afraid that I wouldn't like it or it would have been bad or something.
He's like, you're probably right.
And he's like, well, She's like, what were you, some kind of spy or something? He's like, well, I was more of a preventer.
I like that. He says, I'm a quote-unquote preventer. He prevents things from happening.
Like, and she's like, from who? He's like, bad people.
Yeah.
So it was a good job. And he's like, yeah, it was a good job.
Yeah, and you wonder if it gets kind of, was he a killer? Was he like, that's a little ambiguous, but we don't know. But I agree with you. The first act does a beautiful job, sets shit up, all exposition. This is what's happening. So you get to the thing where he agrees, he acquiesces. Okay, you could travel, call me, whatever. And then he doesn't find out till like they're at the fucking airport. He looks at the map and he's like, "You're doing
a good job of concealing."
Yeah, you're going other places, because he's got a really thick Irish accent. And she's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then Famke Janssen's like, "Don't fuck this up." Yeah, fuck. It's all about you. And he's like, "I'm just trying to help my daughter."
He's like, he should have said, like, if you knew, the kind of shit that I've seen.
Yeah,
outside of this country and inside this country, probably.
Yeah, and this is a story where it's like I'm the kind of guy that worries. Like I've always talked about with my wife. She's traveled the world before she met me, and she wants to go back to these places. And I'm like, you went to Egypt 20 years ago. I wouldn't trust myself going. And I sound like a worrywart. People do this all the time, but I was like, I'd rather go with somebody who knows the area, knows the things, is a preventor. You know what I mean? I'd rather feel much better traveling with a third person who can, be the guy that's holding the candle. But still,
Well, I think, from a thematic point of view, what's going on in this script, I think is pretty interesting and probably deeper than some people even think about. Basically, he, like you said, he sidelined his career so that he could be closer to his daughter. And he's essentially trying to be something he's not to gain her affection and win her over. Like, he's not this, like, domestic guy who goes shopping for karaoke machines. He's not that he's pretending, but he's trying to, what do they say? A tiger can't lose its stripes or whatever.
Yeah, he's trying.
Like, he's trying to be something he's not because he realizes that, like, he has to be if he's ever going to have her. Because, like, have a relationship with her.
I think he probably realized very quickly that he's in that window with children where, a lot of times when the kids hit like puberty, 13, 14, you start having problems and there's arguing, maybe mom and the daughter. But he's got to still try to increase this bond enough because when she hits college, she's almost an adult, and then she lives her life. So he still wants to make up for all the years he's lost being away, probably, putting her through school and all, he was probably making crazy money, and Famke Janssen leaves him for somebody else who's making crazy loot, who owns businesses and stuff like that. So I think at some point there must have been some sort of argument, probably because the marriage dissolved, that he's like, listen, okay, I'm going to put my career, because he probably still has another 5-10 years left. And that's with his friends, all the guys that we know from all these other movies, they're joking about, like, you have you have, and like, you're doing, and it's, and every other question is like, but you're doing it for your daughter, they're feeding him these lines, and he's like, but I have to make a good relationship with her.
But my point is, like, we're seeing, because she's a teenage girl at this point, that, the pony, she loves the stepdad. Not to say that the Xander Berkeley stepdad characters, but we don't really know anything about him.
No, he seems like a nice guy.
He seems like he's perfectly fine. You want to come in?
Lunch?
But we have this guy who's doing his best to be something that he's naturally not.
Yeah.
Because for his daughter, to like win over his daughter. But
we also get a little to Save the Cat, where he brings the karaoke machine over. We talked about Save the Cat.
Throughout this story, and I'm skipping ahead to the end, he ends up winning her over by being who he is.
By being the
animal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a very...
using the skills he knows.
It's a very touching moment for me when he breaks into the thing and the sheik or whatever has got her, and he says, we can go, and then he gets shot.
Shoots him,
He saves the daughter, and she looks at him and she's crying. She said, "You came for me."
Yeah.
Like, that's her realizing
that dad's always
for the
here.
first time.
Yeah.
That, like, she has this father that loves her, I think.
Yeah.
And she goes, and then she repeats, she hugs him, she says, "You came for me." He's like, "Well, I told you I would."
Yeah.
And I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah. But it's all about keeping your word. The love.
He had to, it's just that
tragic
not everybody's
situation.
going to be in a situation, not everybody's that kind of guy. It's just an interesting thing that he's trying to be something he's not, and that the way he can be the best father he can be for her, especially in this situation, he's the only person that can do it, is to be the person that he is, and that's how he wins her affection.
And so they get to Paris. They're not even out of the fucking airport yet. They're at the the taxi stand.
Peter.
And then this guy comes over. He's like, "Oh, take a picture." He's cute. He's like, "Oh, I have a big dick." And, then they start talking and all that. And then the girls are like, "Oh," they won over. And then, of course, you realize through dialogue, they give up their whole shtick. Yeah, we're all alone. We're Americans. We don't know anything.
We're on the 5th floor.
Yeah, we by ourselves. We leave the door open at night. We have pillow fights.
It's
we walk around
unlocked.
naked. There's no parents here.
There's a lot of money.
Yeah. We don't know anything. We have access to bearer bonds, whatever you want. So very quickly, Jesus, not even an hour, right? I mean, they get up there, they turn the music on, they're like dancing around to Papa Don't Preach, and freaking, she calls the dad, and he's like, "Why haven't you called?" And he's worried because he calls Famke Janssen up. Also, I guess it should be noted that you and I both watched the international cut.
Yeah.
Which has a little extra, like we said, an extra punch, extra gunshot, a little more gratuitous violence. But he calls Famke Janssen up, he's like, "Have you heard from her?" And she's like, "Bro."
It's like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, she's a girl, but it's funny because it is that teeter-totter of, are you being an overbearing parent, or there's some validity, like Hardcore, the other movie we talked about, where like shit can go down very easy, and shit can get real. And then we get into the point where this is where you start seeing these great effects and devices where she's on the phone, she's talking to the dad, she's looking at her friend through the window.
It's like across a courtyard.
Yeah, because of how the building,
she has the whole floor, so
the apartment building is set up, and then she sees that her friend gets taken by these people, and then she starts talking to her dad, and it's cool, very
this
easily.
This is the whole trailer. This is it. This is the money shot. This is the scene of this movie.
Yeah.
And the brilliance of this scene is that it's, I don't know how long it is. It's not long, 3 minutes, 5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And
it's effective and startling.
It's edge of the seat, gripping it is so suspenseful.
It's the horror movie, serial killers in the closet, Michael Myers, you know what I mean? And then you see, especially if you're a witness, you're on the phone, it's a bit a rear window,
but it's also, we see he's put into action. This is where Brian Mills, the Liam Neeson character, this is where, like, okay, we get a hint of it at the security with the pop singer, that he can handle himself. He's attentive. He's competent at what he does. But this is like any other person would be like, oh my god, yeah. Where he's like, okay, he grabs his suitcase, he has the wherewithal,
and he's telling her,
I need to record this.
It's
go to the next room,
hide under the bed. And it's very, a lot of credit to her. He's like, listen, you're gonna get taken.
Yeah, well, he says to her,
he's a pragmatic.
He's also, something I find interesting on this viewing is when he goes to her and he tells her, okay, he gives her the paper. when he signed it, when he goes to like Famke Janssen's house.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, oh my God. He's like, you got to go. This is my phone. He gives her a list of instructions. And he's like, you got to focus. You're not focusing.
Yeah.
So his whole thing is like focus, because he's so focused.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, you got to listen to me. You got to focus. Go in the other room. Get under the bed. Go into the next room. Get under the bed. Now here, this is a very important thing. You have to listen to me. You're going to be taken. What I need you to do is when they take you, I need you to yell out.
Leave the phone there and yell out.
Yell out every
as much
recognizable thing that you see.
And this is the thing that I've noticed in this viewing and then originally when I watched it, and it's probably because it is a European movie because it's not very important. Some of the dialogue in this movie is hard to hear and understand, and probably because some of it's dubbed, and who cares, because a lot of people are going to be watching it subtitled in different language. But when she ends up yelling, like she says, beard, 6 feet, tattoo, right hand,
you don't hear,
I can understand
I didn't hear any of it until he's listening back to it.
Yeah. So and maybe that's the point of it.
Yeah.
But so he tells her, which is interesting because this is also a very clever script. You go back from a writer's point of view. Okay, Blake and I have an idea of this movie, but then how are you going to make a compelling story that's not boring?
Yeah.
How is he going to? Okay, we have a time frame, 96 hours. How do we get him over there? Okay, he takes a private flight. How does he find the girl in a fucking needle in a haystack? Okay, well he finds.
He goes to the apartment.
Yeah.
But this whole thing of this scene. It's so masterfully like constructed.
Well, it's funny too because then that happens. We have the bad guy, the heavy picks the phone up, and he knows, and then he starts giving his speech, which is funny because it's like his Dirty Harry speech.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because I was in the back of my mind, I almost giggled. I was like, thank God the guy didn't hang up on him. Like 2 seconds
halfway through.
Yeah, well, not even like he's like,
I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want.
Fuck. For fuck's sake. Yeah.
But it's the trailer is this speech.
Yeah. And
this is so badass.
And people
all
forget.
Of a sudden, we're now, like I said, he's thrown into action, but we as an audience are like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like now we're like, oh, that guy's in trouble.
Yeah, he's like a machine because now I feel like this is kind of because this in itself started this whole subgenre, a subgenre in the late 2000s, where you already had the Jason Bourne movies going and some other badass movies of that fare. But Bruce Willis had been doing it. But like this started this series of guys like there's a Sean Penn movie like this. There's about a list of a half a dozen guys who are in this type of film. And I think it's
Sean Penn's in a movie that this guy directed, The Gunman.
That might be it from 2015 or 13 or so.
I have 10, but
maybe that's it. But it's like this kind of a movie where he's doing this kind of a, there was a time there where there was about 4 or 5 different guys that well, like a Sean Penn, or whatever, that were doing this type of movie. Oh, it's like his installment of this type of movie, or this guy's installment. And it's, to me, like I said, it goes back to say you take Jimmy Stewart, where post-World War II, people still knew him as the young guy, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. But then he started doing these very psychologically great Westerns with Anthony Mann, and people weren't used to seeing Jimmy Stewart that way. So when you go see the movie, it works so much more on a different level because he is now a different kind of a person, or he's playing a different kind of a character. Yeah. So the cast Liam Neeson, to see Liam Neeson have this specialty at his age, he's in his 50s, not to say he's overweight or he looks old, but it's just really effective when he starts getting down to brass tacks, doing his own stunts.
But it's this scene is where we are really, it's been hinted at, we've been given information as an audience, but this scene is where we see and we buy as an audience that he's like we're going to be taken on this trip, and we're going with them, and we accept it.
Yeah,
I mean the speech is so badass. Like I said, the trailer is essentially this. He's like, I don't know who you are, I don't know what you want. If you're looking for a ransom, I can tell you I don't have any money. But what I do have is a particular set of skills.
Yeah, a particular set of skills. It's very Irish.
Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. In his delivery, he accentuates I will find you. And I will kill you.
Yeah, and it's such a great payoff later in the movie when they're in that. He's playing he goes in there like as a Parisian cop, and he's there, and he's like, Do you remember me?
Well, the guy's response is good luck.
Oh yeah, and he has. Can you read what this says? So he gets the Well, that's a little later, but he says that to him, and that's how he's okay.
And so now the clock starts. He's thrown into action. Our hero is now the inciting incident or whatever. He's thrown into action. He goes to Famke Janssen's, Lenny's house or whatever he calls her, and he says, "I need to see her room. Do you have any?" He says to the stepfather, the new husband, "Do you have any enemies?"
And he's like, "Well," and he starts checking off all the. Is it a kidnapping because somebody wants a ransom, or is what the hell is it?
And he has the connections. He sends the recording to a friend of his that he worked with on the security job. And that's where this guy comes up with this information because he's still got connections.
Yeah, he calls an analyst. The analyst is like, by the thingy. And this is, again,
what
we
dialect
said.
of Albanian, blah, blah, blah.
There's the town, and this is a hotbed. But this is a very real thing where this nowadays, you don't hear a lot about it, but there's this sex slave trade, people being kidnapped, brought in. And this is how you think about back in the day with pimps and prostitutes, but this is how they rope you in. You get somebody, they get them hooked to drugs. And then when they're in that cloudy world, you get them to whatever the hell else they're doing, they're prostituting.
Well, I think
stuff.
that's kind of the other. That's one of the main thing. I said one of the things that really works about this script is this idea of, and that's a convention that's used often, is that the daughter or the family's messed with, the daughter's taken, something happens to the family. Instantly, we as an audience relate. We know
it's like instant empathy.
What's at stake?
Yeah,
and so then got 96 hours. Put that clock into motion. Dion knows, and I've mentioned it many times. Clocks in various different ways of film. Back to the Future. You have X amount of days before the lightning strike. I love that because it builds in suspense that it has to be done by a certain amount of time. But then you take a movie like Rocky, where we see that they go from Thanksgiving to Christmas. We have a clock in that sense.
Yeah. It's
a way of instantly placing us, or often, what could be used in a movie is a person's pregnant, and then we know that there's 9 months.
Yeah.
There's just, it's a clever story device to kind of either put us in suspense or give us some kind of time frame to instantly be able to say, oh, it's Thanksgiving, so it's been X amount of months. Or it was Thanksgiving, now it's Christmas, we know it's been a month or whatever. So we get the clock, and the other thing, along with the thing about the daughter being taken, is when they say female trafficking, and they're going to get her addicted to drugs, instantly, we know it, this is maybe even worse than death for us, a lot of us.
Sure.
Think about it. The stakes are so great. If he doesn't find her with 96 hours, it's the most horrific stakes I think a lot of us can imagine.
Yeah, especially for someone like that,
She's,
a young girl who's
a
innocent
17-year-old girl who is or might be or may not be on the spectrum, is being sold into sex slavery and is going to be forcibly addicted to heroin or something.
Terrible. It's just the way they get there, going back to the old days of getting a girl coming to New York City or a big city, try to make it big, and as a movie star or whatever, they would meet these people, they would endear themselves to them, and then all of a sudden they hook them on drugs, and then all of a sudden they're turning themselves out.
Hey, Dion.
Hey, Blake.
What are you eating under there?
Underwear?
I got you.
Oh, you got me. I get you. Underwear, underwear. I got you. That reminds me of something that you seem like you want to talk about.
I do. One of my favorite topics that we don't usually talk about on the show is men's wear.
Yeah.
Including underwear.
Undergarments, yeah. Men's underwear that I think is essential to every person's life, especially the man.
Well, I would imagine men's underwear would be more important to men, yeah.
And that brings us to what we're talking about today, because our new sponsor for this...
today's episode.
Yeah, is sponsored by Mack Weldon.
But Mack Weldon doesn't only have underwear.
That's true. What do they have? They have socks.
And shorts and sweatpants and hoodies.
So I got myself a hoodie, and I'm very excited about it. I love it. And the underwear themselves, they have boxers, they have briefs,
trunks.
I picked up myself some boxer briefs.
Well, the interesting thing about Mack Weldon is that they pay attention to all the details, every stitch, every fabric, every cut.
They're like, you know what? We're going to design a product that's going to be comfortable, that's going to fit right, and it's going to be quality.
You know, back in the day, I'd go to like Target, but nowadays with the internet, like I buy everything online.
Who doesn't?
And so when I found out about Mack Weldon,
Yeah.
and they were like, we want to help sponsor the show, and I was like, I want to try your product.
Yeah. And I said, I do too.
So on our last sleepover,
Yeah.
Dion and I spent a little time online.
Yeah, and I was bought a little too much than I should have. I got a hoodie. I got myself 2 boxer briefs. You picked up yourself the silver line of socks.
I got a pair of socks. I got a pair of regular boxers because that's what I wear. And I also bought a pair of sweatshorts because, you know, I like to sleep comfortably. And though I'm trying to go to the gym, and I'll definitely maybe wear those to the gym, I wanted a nice comfy pair of shorts that would help me make it through the night, sleep-wise.
And we went to MackWeldon.com.
The interface is really easy. It has multiple ways to search in terms of just like underwear or search pants, and then
Yeah.
it can be split up into different categories.
I actually like, too, you can hit a button and you can flip the item around you're looking at so you can see the reverse side, which is, to me, almost unique to the site, which it probably isn't. But I was really impressed by that, and you could see there's, you know, people wearing the stuff, and it's very user-friendly, very easy. I mean, I'm a freaking idiot when it comes to technology. You know me.
I could vouch for that.
Yeah, exactly. I call Blake up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, how does
trying
this
to
work?
order this.
Yeah, how does it work? But here, if you go to MackWeldon.com, they actually were so excited to bring us on board that they're offering a 20% discount for your first order when you check out if you put the promo code in SNMS, meaning Saturday Night Movie Sleepovers.
One of their kind of mottos is their stuff is more comfortable than what you're currently wearing.
Yeah.
In our case, it's not true because we're wearing Mack Weldon. And they're so confident in their product that if you buy a pair
Yeah.
and you don't like your first pair, you can keep it and they'll refund you the money, no questions asked. You
Yeah.
try it out, you don't like it, they don't want your dirty underwear back.
No.
They'll let you keep it.
Yeah, you can keep that, and they'll give you the money back, no questions asked, which is, I think, pretty impressive in this day and age.
But it's easy. Go to MackWeldon.com and for 20% off your first order, enter promo code.
SNMS.
Just 4 letters.
This is our show voice. So Mack, M-A-C-K, Weldon, WELDON.com. Enter the promo code SNMS, and you'll get 20% off your first order. So please try it out today, and why don't you drop us a line and give us some testimonials.
I would love to know what you think about
Yeah.
Mack Weldon. Back to the show. As we go into Act 2, you know, as we are thrown into Act 2, we have a clock, we have the stakes, and we have
And he's listening on his phone. He's listening, Daddy, you know, on the plane right there.
You know, so we're within this first act, we are given everything we need to now be able to fully throw ourselves into this movie, empathize with the main character, understand what's going to happen, what the stakes are, and like I am on the edge of my seat for like the rest of this movie
Yeah.
when I watch it.
Yeah.
Because and then it's just like everything's kind of brilliantly executed. I love that he goes to the hotel, he goes to the apartment, and he's looking around and he's heard what happened.
Oh yeah, that's a great device because he's heard he heard everything talking to his daughter happening live, and then he recorded the last bit of it, and then he's been listening to it so much and replaying it back in his mind on the journey there. When he gets there and he goes through the location, that he relives it in his head.
Yeah,
listening.
he can like visualize it happening as he's going through. Okay, this is where the friend is grabbed and they knocked over this vase, and then he looks over at he looks across the courtyard through the window where the girl's clearly grabbed. The girl's friend's grabbed, and he sees the window that's the window my daughter was staring
It's
at.
it's very smart because then when you hear. When he was listening, if he heard a noise in the background, like a glass breaking, he can look in the room and see, oh, she was probably struggling, and this is what, you know, so it's very well done
He's
that way.
putting all the pieces together.
Yeah. Then he gets into the bed. You know?
He goes to the bathroom and then he looks over. He told her to get to the closest room. What's the next room?
Yeah.
He get under the bed. So then he gets under the bed and then he starts visualizing because he could hear the footsteps coming.
He's doing very Columbo, like, you know, Hercule Poirot shit, you know, reliving the whole crime, you know.
And then so he lives great like cinematic device to kind of, you know, visualize for us, for him to for the storytelling to visually be told to us as he's visualizing. So then he sees the phone, he takes out the card.
Because the bad guy broke the phone when he left, when he said that to him, good luck.
No, he takes something off the mirror, but that never, and what I also like is like some things don't pan out.
like he takes like a thing off the mirror, like a piece of cloth or something.
Oh, I thought he was like taking like a hair or something to see. If
And
he was
that
gonna,
never pans out. And then through the device, through looking at the card from the camera, the pictures
of the SIM card in the her camera.
he sees Peter, who was like the guy who
that they met at the taxi stand at the airport.
yeah. And so when he gets there, and then that, that's the first. That's where we really see that he's no joke. He throws Peter into that car, and then he's holding his arm.
Oh,
up.
he's just yeah. And then the other guy
ribs.
comes, he beats the other guy up. So because he finds this guy Peter, because the Peter took to get the two girls, he took a picture of the two girls. So when Liam's looking at the cell phone pictures, he sees the guy in the reflection. So he sends the thingy to get analyzed to Quantico. They come back with stuff, and then when he finds him at the airport doing the same thing.
Yeah,
it's
well,
his MO.
it's also just interesting because we've now established that it's routine.
Yeah,
like this is an operation.
Yeah,
it didn't have this. He does this every day.
Yeah,
he's wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, he got a bag and all that. So there's this nice little fight here, which we got a glimpse of before when he defended the rock star. What's her face? Holly Valance. But you get to see that it's a little more, which is kind of new, I think, for audiences at the time. Whereas that stuff that you would see a little in the Bourne movies and probably in some of the Transporter movies, this physical action. But for me, it's not like the action sequences that we knew at the time of like movies of, the Schwarzenegger or Stallone movies.
Yeah.
Or this is a little more based in a realism where it's not so fast, but there's martial arts, there's stuff going on. So it's like something new to American audiences, this type of action, this speed, shot this way, but you know what I mean?
But what I do like about the action scenes and the fight scenes in this movie is that around this time,
2008, 2009.
2008, 2009, I mean, I want to say maybe the second Bourne movie is a perfect example of this, which is that like the cameras were so shaky and the cuts were so fast that you couldn't really tell what was happening.
Like Batman Begins.
Batman Begins is another perfect example.
Half that movie, people love that movie. It's okay for me, but I can't see what's going on in that movie.
I remember watching a behind the scenes of Batman or something before Batman Begins came out, and they were showing they were filming the shooting of the movie.
Yeah, and it looks great.
So it's like, oh, those fight scenes look awesome.
Yeah,
because you see the camera shooting those fight scenes in the shot.
It's behind the scenes. Yeah,
yeah, and they're like, oh, those fight scenes look like they'll be great. And then you watch it, and like you can't tell what the hell's
footage,
happening.
You're like, what the fuck is this happening? And I guess that's supposed to be the plot. I don't know.
So one thing I like about this movie, because like I said, I want to say it's the second Bourne movie, maybe it's the third one, but I remember I saw that. I was like, what? They couldn't afford a tripod, these people?
Yeah.
Or a Steadicam?
That was the problem you were getting in those days, like. Casino Royale, the first Daniel Craig Bond movie, came out in 2006, which I really like.
Yeah.
That had some elements of this fighting in it, so you were getting some of this physicality that you were seeing. But
in that one, you could see what was happening.
Yeah. So that's two of the points. One, my point is saying, like, you're getting this physicality, which I'm really liking in cinema at the time. But the flip side, what you're saying is that you were getting these movies where they weren't handling the fight sequences. The shooting of it, you can't see what the hell.
Like they could have just, you
know, it's too dark, it's too up close, it's too frantic.
They didn't even really need to choreograph anything. They just had the people waving their arms.
Yeah, and then somebody falls, and it's like, it's a Batman, and then they're, it's like, so it's, and that's another thing,
too. A lot of wasted money in that choreography.
There's these beautiful choreographed dance, it's almost like dance numbers, these fight sequences, you can't tell what the hell's going on. It's like, you see that in car chase films, and it's like, if you just take it back a little bit, it'd be much more.
So one of the things I do appreciate about this movie is that yes, it's shot for a lot of the fight scenes are shot fairly close and the cuts are quick, but you can tell
what's happening
exactly every punch. It's just it's happening very quickly, so not everything is really registering.
Yeah.
But it's clear.
Yeah.
Like you can understand when he hits somebody, that he hit somebody. It's not just like some swish pan.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great sequence when he gets this guy, Peter, trying to get info at him. The guy rabbits. He runs after the guy. They go up there. He's following him up like the off-ramp to the airport. The guy jumps down. You think he's about to leave, and then the guy gets brutal. The guy walks out into a lane looking at Liam Neeson, doesn't see it, gets fucking hit by a truck, taken down.
And then like that, his first
one lead,
his probably biggest lead,
dies with him,
like dead end.
But it's a great because it is kind of an entrance into like, oh, it's going to be this kind of a movie. Like this is going to be, and then he tries to talk to an old friend who's a Paris cop.
So you imagine like in between this scene and the next scene, he's like, okay, who do I know in Paris?
Fuck.
Like who do I know? He goes and he tries to visit an old friend. One of the great things about this whole plot, this whole story, this kind of movie and this movie specifically, is that it's really like wish fulfillment. You know, we all have, you know, things happen, obviously, probably, knock on wood, things not this dire or intense, devastating. These kinds of things don't happen to everybody, thank goodness. But we all have instances where, like, I wish I could do something.
Put in a situation where you can just kick some ass.
Like I wish, you know, kick ass or anything. Like, you know, you just, like, you wish you had the ability, the skill set, the connections,
fortitude to be able to do
be able to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And so this is the kind of movie where, like, we all wish we could be, if our a loved one was taken, we would go to the police, we'd file a report.
Yeah, you'd wait.
You'd
try to get the next flight to Paris. You know,
we all wish we could be the guy that says, like, not only does, but has the resources and the skill set to be able to do it. We all wish we could get on that plane, go find the fucking guy.
It's such a unique thing too, because you think about, like, there is a time he didn't, he only, because of his connections, know about this clock. Because of the stepfather that Famke Janssen is now married to, he's able to get this charter, this whatever kind of a Lockheed plane it is, to get there in no time, as fast as he can. He's able to get on the ground running. He has connections because he has fake passports. He's able to get a gun or a weapon somehow in Paris. I don't think he brought it himself. So he has all these connections to get to hit the ground running. He's probably lost the minimum amount of time as possible. He gets there. He probably has, it's again what we see in Commando. Remember, he jumps out that plane. He stands up. He's got his clock. He sets the clock. I forget what it was, 12 hours before that flight he's supposed to be on. Schwarzenegger's supposed to get to, like, that fake country before he's that time to find his daughter. So it's great to have a clock. And then he starts working out all these connections where he goes to his Parisian friend, the cop, and the cop's like, I'll give you some leads, but not a lot. And
Brian.
Yeah. and then so the plot just starts unfolding.
That guy gives us a little exposition. It's, the Albanians, they came here about 5-6 years ago. It started with like 6 or 7 of them. Now there's hundreds of them, blah, blah, blah. We're getting, a little bit of this information that we don't need to know, but it does, certainly it adds depth. Adds a little color to the movie.
And this is, this is in no way, this next comment is going to be anything bad about Albanians, but this is something you saw in the criminal aspect of the Albanian mob. They in the past 20 years, they've relatively come over to the States or to other parts, and they've kind of taken over where the Italian mob is kind of, lost its fingers.
Well,
or these other,
you take a movie like Eastern Promises, and that's what London, with the Russian mob.
And this is another example of a movie like that, Cronenberg, where that whole scene in the bathhouse, that's more of this kind of realistic kind of, even though you see Vigo's full schlong, how do you do there, dancing around, but it's like these kind of movies where you get that kind of fight sequences. So Liam hits the ground going. He starts running out these little leads. Since the daughter's taken, you don't get to see her again, which I like. It's not like you're seeing, like, her point of view in these things. So you don't know what's happening to her. He what is it? Very quickly, what's the next thing after he loses the lead with the guy Peter? He
goes to the friend. The friend gives him a little stuff. This friend calls somebody, says tail him because shit's going to get real.
Yeah. He's going to bring some
and then we find out through the tail that he got a car. And so then we get the scene where he picks up a translator.
Oh, this is great. He gets an Albanian translator to translate for,
And he goes and he kind of, is difficult with a prostitute to try to get the pimp to come out. We don't really know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's just acting idiotic, and
but we know that he's got some strategy.
Yeah,
and then he gets confronted by the pimp, some Albanian, because he learns that this is like the section of town there, the Albanians,
like the red light district,
turn out women. So then he bugs the guy. And he goes back to the Albania. He goes back. The funny thing is about this movie, when I was watching it this time, and obviously I've seen this movie numerous times. It was a movie that was on TV a lot for a while.
Of course.
And of course I would watch it every time it was on. It's one of those kinds of movies for me. But you forget, because it's only like 90 minutes.
That's another thing is, like, I remember this movie being tight, an hour and a half when I first saw it, but then this time, when we watched, I was like, Jesus, it's almost over. I was like, this is it. It's like it's flying.
There's so many things.
Yeah.
Like it moves at a clip. Like once it gets going, it's just a sprint.
Yeah.
And so we were watching.
Not a lot of time wasted. Like
and I was like, oh yeah. Like as it's coming, I was like, oh yeah, there's this scene.
Yeah.
There's the translator. That's right.
Yeah.
Because
so he gets this guy in the car. He starts a problem with the prostitute, like Blake said. Pimp comes out, makes him leave. He's able to put like a bug on the pimp. Pimp gets back in the car. Liam Neeson gets back into the car with the translator, and then it's funny. He starts saying, like, translate everything they're saying.
Yeah.
And
he's like, I don't understand. And he's like, just do it.
Just talk. And it's,
translate. Just translate.
And it's saying some stuff, and he hears. Then
he's
he
got
learns,
his eyes closed, so you know that he's
listening to. He's analyzing everything, and then the guy says, "What does he say? An address or location?"
He's talking about a construction site.
Yeah, and this is another thing I love. Places in movies where you can have these set pieces, and this is, I remember from watching this movie the first time, this whole construction sequence here when he's got the Jeep Cherokees and there's he has this big shootout. It's very reminiscent of like Tango and Cash.
Yeah, well, apparently
or the end of Raw Deal.
Apparently this comes from Luc Besson brought the writer Kamen over. He said, I want to show you something, and they were building a new highway.
Okay.
He's like, I want to show you how like their highways are built in France. In Paris. What they do is they set up like a what are they called? What is the
2-letter word? First word starts with
trailer park.
Trailer park.
They build like a trailer park for the workers. The workers live there.
Oh, like old Detroit. Yeah, like
as they move the trailers along the highway.
No, that's kind of like what they did when they built the Hoover Dam. You have this shanty town outside.
Yeah, and so they keep on. So they're like, we need to let's do a scene in one of these trailers.
Yeah, that was unclear to me. To me, it seemed just more like they were at a construction site.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really come across, but apparently that was the origin. But the idea is that they have a trailer that's basically a whorehouse for these.
Which is back in when they did the Hoover Dam, you had this shanty town. I forget the name of the town. In what is that? The 20s into the 30s, maybe. Or maybe the 30s because it was part of the New Deal with what's his face, Roosevelt. But they had. This is the town. This is classical literature, or the archetype of you have. They're going to need vices, so they're going to have gambling. They're going to have drinking. They're going to have prostitution because these guys are workers. It's Alaskan pipeline. So of course you're going to be. This is where money's to be made because all the guys are going to do is work, spend their money on drink, sex, or gambling.
Now this scene is very important for the audience. We have Liam Neeson gets in line to go into the whorehouse.
Yeah.
He's given a number, and we see that they've sectioned off with blankets and clotheslines.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
These makeshift rooms, and that's why this scene's so important because he takes back that first curtain, and we see that girl, and we see that all the girls are drugged out, they're dirty, and it now makes it real. Like before, like I said, we hear sex trade or we hear female trafficking, and we immediately know that the what's at stake. We know the stakes of everything, but now we're being shown.
Yeah, the actual.
Like, oh my God, like this is happening to his daughter somewhere.
Yeah, and any curtain he pulls could be his daughter or his friend, where he's not really. That was the other joke. When they were like, "Is anybody going to call the parents of the other daughter, and tell them that's what's going on, or we're not to keep them in the loop at all?"
So not only for him, but he has an idea. But for us as an audience, we're like, "Oh my God, this is what he's trying to prevent." So it raises the stakes.
Yeah. So he starts flipping back, trying to find his daughter, and it lends itself to a great little action sequence
which is really now we've had hints of the scene with the singer. We've had hints with Peter in the cab, but now this is where we get to see like him
fucking
for the first time, and he's capable. It's like this is the first time we see him fully unleashed.
Doing Nagatsu Do, which is a hybrid of judo, aikido, and jiu-jitsu. And he starts messing these mothers up. This is where
he finds the girl with the jacket, right?
Yeah, because he sees his daughter. He sees a girl with a jacket
He
that
thinks
looks like
it's his daughter. We're always like, is that the daughter?
Yeah, he sees her, he turns her around, it's not her, so he grabs this girl that has his daughter's jacket. Where did you get this jacket? And then
I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
So he throws her in the back of a car. Seatbelts are in, thank God. He seats and belts himself back in, and it starts this huge sequence.
And now
of these
we
guys
have a
go
chase
after him.
scene.
Yeah.
Not only do we have these awesome fight scenes,
We have a great-
but now we have a chase.
A great scene with automatic weapon fire. They're shooting, and this is another great thing, a sequence. A thing I have to say about this movie, I'm a big fan, as Blake knows, of like Michael Mann type movies where the action is realistic, the sound effects, and I think this is an example of a movie where the gunplay in this movie, the sound effects are very realistic. They sound like the guns from the area. It's not just like a Hollywood quote unquote Foley effect they're putting over the guns. So maybe it's because of a little more, they're doing it a little cheap, or maybe they're taking the sounds from set, the diegetic sound. But I love the automatic gunfire and the gunfire in this movie. It sounds really very realistic. So you have this great sequence where these guys are going after him, and other 4x4s or all-wheel drive vehicles, and they're he's knocking it. So and then it's another thing. It shows his skills of being a great driver, being able to take these guys out one at a time.
Yeah, he's like knocking over, intentionally knocking over the barrels with the fire in them.
Yeah, so it's very and they're trying to shoot, and it also shows you how hard it is. I mean, some of these shots look like they could have hit their mark and killed her, but it does show you how hard it is to try to, even if you have an automatic gun, to try to hit a thing moving, and all that kind of a thing. So great scene where at the end of it he's able to get out of there. I think he kills everybody in brutal deaths.
And he ends up taking her to like some hotel.
Yeah.
Some like, hole in the wall hotel. And the guy's like, oh, it's been a long time since I see you. But we buy it.
Yeah.
Like he's like the usual rate, like accommodations +1.
Yeah. And he goes up and he has an IV. He knows how to he's putting in the IV into her. He's giving her like a saline solution drip to hydrate her.
Because they've set everything up so beautifully. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, like we get to that point, there's no question. Like, okay, yeah, he's got connections.
Yeah, of course he knows what he's doing.
He's been here,
he's got money. It's he probably has a drop box in every major city, or has access to these people who have these things, very Cold War kind of shit.
And I think what really works is that, he's Peter dies, the first clue dies, the first lead. He uses his resources to find another clue. The construction site. He gets to the construction site. He doesn't find his daughter, but he sees the jacket. Everything's leading, like I said with the Poe thing. Everything is leading towards that next clue. He's making the best of what he has, and he has the wherewithal and the particular skill set to be able to make the best of it, and to be like, okay, takes the girl, that leads to the next clue, the house with the red door.
Yeah.
Everything is it's like a beautifully constructed puzzle. Everything just fits perfectly through this entire movie.
And he's able to get into there, and he bluffs his way. He bluffs his way into the situation there, and he gets himself into this thing when he's a Parisian cop, and then he talks his way through that he's going to have to extort them for more money.
But also it's like it's a big character thing, because we're seeing like how cool he is in this role of pretending to be something.
Yeah, and then he ends up in this scene just messing them all up, and it's another great scene of like, it's like I love Die Hard 3 when it's Bruce Willis in the elevator with those 4 guys, and he's able to kill them all in one,
But it's also like it's a little game of like cat and mouse. It's like this weird poker game or something.
Yeah, and they don't realize, but we're there, so it's also an exercise in suspense.
He's feeling it all out. It is like that thing of Hitchcock would say you put a bomb underneath the table and then people go about business.
Baseball.
We know it's there.
Yeah, when's it going to go off? And we're worried about the bomb going off. So it's like you see him, he sees 2 guys in another room. He's looking where everybody is.
You see him scoping everything out. He's getting a lay of the land.
I don't think he has a gun on him, or maybe. So he's looking at who's armed, and he's talking to these guys, and he's acting like an idiot. And and so then at the end of it, he's able to say,
he asked them to translate.
And he's looking at their tattoos to see what the tattoo she said, and then
she said beard tattoo, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so he's looking at guys and then at the last thing he says,
Marco, and he's like, we're all Marco.
Yeah, and then he's like, say this, and then the one guy says,
he's like, a friend of mine gave me this. It's in Albanian. Can you translate it for me? And the guy shows it to the other guys. They laugh, and he's like, what does it say? He's like, good luck.
Yeah.
And then it was like, flick of a switch.
You don't remember me,
do you?
I was like, you don't remember me, do you? He's like, you don't remember me, do you? I told you I'd be there.
And then it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and then it just all hell breaks loose, and it's great. And then, he takes them all out, all the knife working, and then the other guys
on the phone 2 days ago. I told you I was going to find you.
Here I am, bingo. Pop goes the weasel, and then like I love the scene where it's like the reinforcements from the other room arrive, and he's dead on the floor. So even when the camera comes, you don't even know where he is, and then all of a sudden he's shooting all the guys. He gets them all
playing possum for a split second, just enough time to catch the by surprise.
And he's able to take that guy.
And he takes Marco from Trapovia.
Yeah, and then it's nice. He wakes up, and it's another one of these sequences where I love that, where then the guy's stripped down. He puts stuff, two metal rods
into his legs,
long nails,
spikes.
And he starts talking. And then I love the idea, the little background he's talking about. We used to outsource this, and and all this kind of thing.
The infrastructure, because again with the infrastructure,
and it's true. It's right. It's like that's funny. These kind of things, that these problems.
Hit the switch and it wouldn't go on.
Yeah, and it's for days or whatever, because the infrastructure in some of these Middle Eastern cities, wherever they were, wasn't as good as didn't have a standard, so you couldn't torture people the right way, and he's talking about he's doing it himself here, so he tortures this guy to get information. I'm kind of surprised the guy level, even though he's torturing him, I'm surprised the guy kind of levels with him,
Yeah. Well, the guy tries to put up spits in his face a couple of times.
Yeah, it tries to be tough until Liam's freaking...
He's like, look, I'll leave this on until they turn off the fucking power for lack of payment.
Yeah, it's great lines, and you kind of believe him too. So he finally, he says what he needs, and then he leaves the fucking thing on, leaves, which is, oh my God, it's terrifying,
Yeah.
And then he goes...
But as an audience, you're like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, of course.
Like, we all wish we could electrify that fucking
And then
dude.
the next thing is you realize with Liam that because they tried to... The cop, his friend, the cop, tried to get him caught. He had this great setup with that scene where it's like, where he's got the cell phone, and they pinned where the cell phone is. He runs up, and the cell phone's actually talking to a radio, so it's like he's not where he's supposed to be, and Liam's watching the whole thing, so he's very smart. And then after he kills this guy with the electricity, he goes to his friend's house because he realizes the friend is dirty.
Yeah, that there's something, the guy's dirty. So he goes to the friend's house. And it's also, he walks in and the wife's like, oh, look who's here. Brian's come here. So now it's like we've established that they really do have history in a way that it wouldn't be weird for him to just drop by. Like, his wife knows who he is.
Yeah, she's like, I'm setting an extra table, and you could tell and then it's a little more suspense for us, because we know the situation. The two guys know the situation, but we're like, oh, what's going to happen here? And the guy goes to the toilet, gets his gun, he sits down at the table, they're about to start eating, and then it's like, then Liam he's fucking, I'm talking like I know him.
Good old Liam.
Yeah, he's like, he just gets down to business. How long are you dirty? How long have you been a part of it?
Yeah.
That kind of shit. What the fuck? And
the guy pulls the gun, and he's like, you've been sitting around behind the desk so far, you don't even remember the weight of the gun in the hand, that's loaded or not.
And it's great. He opens his fist and just starts dropping the bullets on the table. The guy clicks, the gun's empty. He's like, and that's true. You could tell if a gun's, it's like having, I don't know, like something with batteries or without batteries in it. And then he pulls out his gun and he just shoots
the wife in the arm.
And you're like, holy shit, this shit just got serious right then.
Well, what's brilliant, what's great about it is that you can imagine that there's this discussion, and I think like Robert Mark came in and talked about, like, we can't do that because we'll instantly have the audience like hate him for doing this. But Luc Besson's like, no, like, he's that desperate.
Yeah, and he even says it's a flesh wound, but then, the next one might not be here.
Like, this is a guy who's at the end of his rope. He's whatever. He's got less than 24 hours now.
Yeah, and it's his daughter.
His clock is running out.
Yeah, and he probably, if he were able to sit down and explain to the wife,
like,
she'd probably agree with him.
I gotta shoot you.
I gotta make this, because all of a sudden he's a pirate. Shiver me biscuits.
I gotta shoot you.
I gotta shoot you once in the fucking arm. All right, so just go with it. All right, there.
But it's such a great moment in the
then
movie,
you don't know. You're like, he's
now
capable
you're
of
like,
anything.
he really is. He's a rabid dog that's been cornered.
Yeah, and
he's capable of anything at this point.
He gets the info, and I like before he leaves, he says to the guy, like, tell her I'm sorry. Explain to her why I did it, because you're a fucking
apologize to your wife. For me.
Yeah, you fucking cunt. Yeah, fucking dirty.
You lively fuck.
Yeah, you fucking dirty bastard. So, And then it leads to the ending, which that's why I was surprised. I was like, holy shit, this movie's almost over, where it's like, they got to get to the boat.
There's a lot of scenes, right? There's more scenes than you'd expect.
And then he jumps in the car, and it's this race of him trying to go the canal to catch the boat.
Yeah, well, you get the auction.
Oh,
and he's like, "What you got to like winner?" And then
and that's right out of, like I said, there's that Lee Marvin movie Prime Cut with Gene Hackman. It's just basically with her. It's this world where you're like, oh, this is great, because you think about even the female auctioneer that's calling the auction. It's like this is probably
there's this whole lush party going on upstairs where this horrific
it's
bit
going
of business is happening,
which is like probably like sex. It's like dirty. It's like that's all the part of like Eyes Wide Shut shit. Not that they were doing that in the Eyes Wide Shut, but it's like a form of a fetish. You're buying women and stuff, and then he sees it's his daughter. That's another reveal. Well, we skipped the part where
they hold it for so long,
and he's like, it could be
Is it her? Is it her? Is it her?
The other part where we skipped over in the red house, the red door, where he finds the friend OD dead, and that's scary. It's sad. She's dead. Getting a nice close up. This could have been his daughter, and he, what the fuck. And then so at the end of it, when the girl gets sold onto a sultan or somebody, a sheik gets on.
She's
boat.
a virgin.
Yeah,
she's certified pure.
Yeah, they've certified her.
So they sell them when they're virgins.
So they get on some sort of like yacht or some sort of thing, and then he's able to jump on and get on.
The whole chase scene with the car going through traffic.
Yeah, it's great,
beautifully executed. This car chase scene where he's chasing the boat. He's got to get on the boat
because the boat's leaving. The boat's in a canal, leaving the thing. He's able to finally he gets over a pedestrian bridge, jumps on. He takes all these guys
and
out.
in one fell, he jumps, tucks, rolls, takes out the guy like all in one action.
And then you have the sequence where the security team goes after him, and to me it's kind of realistic where he's taking each guy out at a time, and it's great. It's very, it's almost this unstoppable kind of a. These machines. It's like the John Wick shit where it's like, he's able to take everybody out. And then you get to that last part where it's like, I love that. It's almost, there's a scene in Brian De Palma's Untouchables where it's like, we're going to count to 3, 1, 2, and then he shoots the guy, right? I love that with, he gets the daughter and he's in the, it's like, we can, and he just shoots the guy. That's it. And then
he's got like I said, whatever he is, the guy who bought these women,
who
the women were bought for, he's got like a knife to her throat,
Saudi Arabia,
and he's like, we can negotiate before he gets the
word out. He shoots him dead in the head, and then he gets his daughter, and then it's like this happy ending where it's like, and then maybe they're going to get back to, which they do end up getting back together in the sequels. I forget because in the sequel it's like, don't they both get taken? And the sequels kind of blend in together.
Well, she, like I said, she says you came for me, and that's to me like that's
the movie. You can roll credit after that.
Well, yeah, really, it is kind of where you could roll. You could, even if you go to, I think Kamen said that he had the movie end where they go to the airport and they're about to get in the car, and then she says to Famke Janssen, "No, I want to spend the night at Dad's house."
Yeah, and that's kind of like more.
She doesn't do that in this movie, but that's how he wrote the ending, and it's like then roll credits, because the whole thing is like she hasn't even stayed over yet.
Yeah.
So like that's like the sentimentality.
Yeah. And she's also like, she's scared. She's like, I only feel safe with Dad now.
And he came and talked about how like it's just the difference between like the French sentimentality and the American sentimentality. Whereas that would have been like a very American, and then like, I want to spend the night at Dad's house. His sentimentality, Luc Besson, he was saying the French thing is like he gives her the gift of the vocal lesson.
Yeah,
like that was the sentimental part for Besson.
And she's already. And he must have told.
And he said since Besson was paid for the movie, that's the ending we got.
And he probably had to told the girl like, I just had to. She almost was fucking just show up at the house, and But it's this movie. It's released in Germany as 96 Hours. It's released in Italy as I Will Find You. It's released in Russia as Hostage. And it comes out, it's $25 million budget, does $145 million just in North America, does $81 million abroad. It's the best scoring opening day ever for Super Bowl weekend, this movie. And it's the second highest Super Bowl weekend behind Hannah Montana had a concert out. That was number 1 that weekend. But this movie ends up grossing, what is it, $225 million.
Yeah. It spawned 2 sequels. The second one, I don't remember who gets taken in the second one, but I know it has to do with like Marco from Shapovia's father.
I thought it was
takes revenge.
I thought he gets both of them. I thought he takes the daughter and the
mother.
Because like I said, they kind of blend together for me. I don't remember
the third one. I forget what happened in the third one.
And this also begot a series.
And then there was a television series that just recently got canceled this year.
2 seasons, right?
Lasted 2 seasons. It was supposed to be like a prequel, Brian Mills, before all this stuff happened. I started watching it actually not too long ago on demand. I think the first season was on Netflix. I started watching it, and I had no idea that it was a prequel series. Like, I didn't remember that Liam Neeson's name was Brian Mills in the movie. I was like, I don't know. It has nothing really to do with Taken.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just
it's a prequel. You're like, what the hell does that have to do with it?
And I was like, no, it's supposed to be a like it's supposed to be him before this.
I mean, I guess that would be the logical
And I was
step.
like, oh, okay.
Because you can't have them just keep happening afterward. It's
But it was like, I thought it was just like they take the notion of Taken.
Oh, and then have different
and
things.
just have us, like another guy.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing this now.
But
like,
it is actually supposed to be a prequel.
like the Sicario movies. Like, you're seeing more of this now. This is the whole subgenre.
And the second season is very different than the first season. I'm like 2 episodes away from finishing both seasons.
Yeah.
And it takes a big right turn. It becomes a very different show for the second season. I was more into the first season than I was the second season.
Yeah.
But it's got Jennifer Beals, who of course I love. So.
Yeah, of course. And the honorable mention for Liam Neeson. I love him, and High Spirits from the late '80s. You think about his career prior to this. I love he did Ethan Frome. I'm a big fan of Ethan Frome. Seraphin Falls, which you turned me on to, a Western he did right prior to this.
Yeah.
And just these
Dark Man.
Dark Man, that really got it. The A-Team he did after this, which I loved.
I like the remake. I like the
Gray I liked a lot.
The Gray, yeah. Well, it's funny because this sparked a lot of these kinds of movies. And one of the movies that came out after this was a movie where he's got amnesia.
Yes, and that was pretty. There's 2 of those, which basically the same thing. Like Nas or RZA is the bad guy. I forget who the bad guy is.
And whichever one it is, and he's got amnesia and he's trying to figure out who he is, but clearly he's a badass in like his real life. I've said, you know what they should do is in the movie he should remember that he's Brian Mills from Taken.
There's 2 movies.
Like they should have him literally remember he's this guy.
Because there's another movie where it's him with Ed Harris. I remember he's like, and he has to go after Ed Harris, and then he's I don't know, fighting his whatever. And then there's another movie where he's got amnesia, but he's a badass, And he's done 3 or 4 of them, but they're successful.
Might have January Jones in it, but I was like, he should literally remember that he's the character from Taken. It should be like it should be a weird sequel.
Yeah, this is a great movie. This was an example, like we said, we were trying to. Our intention always since the beginning of the series was to do more recent, we think are sleepover classics or are going to be sleepover classics. And this was an example of that. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of these kind of fare because I'm such a fan of the earlier, the 70s and 60s and 80s kind of movies like this. So, yeah, this is really fun doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're still going. John Wick.
Yeah.
What's the Equalizer?
Yeah, all from these, examples of this kind of this subgenre category, and so it's fun, and it's a nice little trip down memory lane doing one of these little thingies like this.
I was wanted to say, to me, like doing more recent movies, it's like the sleepover classics of the future.
Yeah. And it's fun. And then next week we're doing something that's kind of in this realm, which is exciting too, and again, it's fun. This I hadn't seen as many times as you had, but it was certainly great seeing it again and realizing that it's been 10 years since it's come out and how quick it is. Right? But thank you very much for listening. You can check us out on Twitter. You can check us out on Instagram. You can check us out on Facebook. We're on clnsmedia.com. clnsmedia.com. We're on iTunes and Stitcher. Yeah, we're there. We're all over the place right now. You can please tweet us, message us, like our stuff, retweet our stuff. You can interact with us, give us suggestions of stuff you'd like us to see. Check out our back catalog. We have a proper site, Saturday Night Movie Sleepovers. You can check out episode extras and stuff. We have, we're almost 130 movies now in episodes. Coming up on our anniversary, our 4th anniversary. Yeah, in about a month we're going to do our anniversary for the show, so that's going to be a big one for us. Blake, you have other stuff. Scored to Death. The book, Scored to Death, Conversations with some of horror's greatest composers, and of course, Scored to Death, the podcast, which is available, most places you can find podcasts, including SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Nice. Also, just writing various things, wrote the recent liner notes for Death Waltz's re-release of the Halloween's 4 and 5 soundtracks. On vinyl. Of course, they got my name fucking wrong. I don't know how that, I know. Cover. Ridiculous. Don't get me started. You can read my liner notes on those and everything else. Yeah, and please go check out Blake's book, too, Scored to Death. And I've got some good news, which I'll be talking about soon, which I'll bring up one of these days to you. And check us out in 2 weeks. We'll have another movie coming out. And then before you know it, we're going to be into the fall. We're going to have our anniversary movie. After that, we're going to be, Halloween's going to be here. And what we do in October. So you'll be seeing that stuff going on. And before we know it, it'll be 2019. Where did time go? So check us out on clnsmedia.com and all the other stuff we just told you about. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Later.